Imagine you're looking at a resume, right?
Okay, yeah. I'm picturing it.
So you scan down the experience section, and here's what you see. You see trauma ward trained medical professional.
Okay. Pretty standard so far.
Right. But then under that, it says star of 300 highly distributed media productions.
Oh, wow. That's a pivot.
Yeah, and it keeps going. Like indie film wardrobe specialist, live action professional wrestler. And then at the very bottom, there's this ambition to open a holistic fresh juice bar.
That's wild. It sounds like you're looking at the resumes of like 5 completely different people that just got mixed up in the printer.
Exactly. You'd think there's no way this is the same person.
Because it just completely shatters every, conventional expectation we have about how a professional life is supposed to unfold.
Yeah.
I mean, we're so conditioned to view a career as this ladder, right? Like you pick a wall in your 20s, you put the ladder against it, and you just you start climbing rung by rung.
But the sources we pulled for you today, they tell a completely different story. So
Nice.
welcome to today's deep dive.
Glad to be here.
We are looking at this massive stack of, well, biographical encyclopedias, career retrospectives, and industry archives. And our mission today is to really explore the anatomy of radical career reinvention.
Yeah, and our ultimate case study for this is it's fascinating. We're looking at the incredibly multifaceted journey of a woman who went by the industry named Angelica Sin, born Angela Oliver.
Right, and we're not just going to sit here and list off the wild pivots she made, though they are wild.
Definitely.
We really want to unpack the hidden mechanics of, how she constantly adapted her personal brand across some of the most competitive, physically demanding, and frankly, highly controversial fields in modern media.
Which is just the perfect lens for this deep dive, because when you look at the sheer volume of what she accomplished, the real mystery isn't just the variety of roles she played.
You mean?
Well, it's the underlying strategy. We are going to deconstruct how she utilized this hyper-compartmentalization to avoid burnout, and how she managed her own physical stamina like an elite athlete navigating a constantly shifting marketplace.
So let's start by looking at her early foundation, because, you've probably felt boxed in by a college major or an early career choice at some point.
Yeah.
And her starting line is the absolute last place you'd expect this story to begin.
Oh, completely.
So Angela Oliver was born on April 9th, 1974 in Jacksonville, North Carolina. And the sources note she has this very grounded background, Appalachian English and Cherokee heritage.
Right.
And her very first performative roots were actually in high school, working as a baton twirler and a member of the pom-pom squad.
And, that detail might seem small, but it establishes this early baseline of physical coordination.
Yeah, the strict repetitive discipline.
Exactly. And a foundational comfort with performing in front of a demanding crowd. It's really physical storytelling at a very early age.
But she doesn't take that high school performance experience and just, immediately buy a bus ticket to Hollywood.
No, she goes a totally different route.
She goes to the University of South Carolina, and she earns a degree from their School of Nursing. She actually enters the medical field.
Right.
She takes on various jobs as a nurse and later pivots to working as a flight attendant. Oh, and by the way, the sources mention that while she was at the university, she met her future husband, Howard McCullough.
Who would later go by the industry name Rich Handsome.
Right, exactly. But looking at this early medical career, I actually have a hypothesis about this.
Oh.
Let's hear it. Well, when someone takes on an incredibly intense, structured, major, like nursing, but later explodes into the entertainment world, it usually means the nursing was just like a safety net.
You think so?
Yeah, like a fallback plan to appease parents before taking the real leap. Am I reading this right?
I'd actually challenge that interpretation.
Really?
Well, we tend to view nursing and entertainment as polar opposites, right? Like one is about private clinical caretaking and the other is about public aesthetic performance.
Yeah, they seem worlds apart.
But if you strip away the environments and look purely at the mechanics of the work, they share a remarkably similar foundation. Just think about what a nurse actually does on a daily basis.
Well, you're managing people in vulnerable, high-stress situations. You have to be composed under immense pressure.
Precisely. And it requires immense physical stamina. I mean, you are on your feet for 12-hour shifts, navigating these grueling, unpredictable hours.
Oh, yeah, and constantly adapting to sudden emergencies.
Right. You need highly developed interpersonal skills to instantly connect with dozens of different personalities, doctors, patients, families, and often in totally chaotic environments.
Wow. Okay, so it's less of a safety net and more of a crucible. Like
Yeah.
she's building a specific type of endurance.
Yes, exactly. When she eventually transitioned into the life of a touring performer, she wasn't abandoning her nursing skills at all. She was completely repurposing her work ethic.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, the grueling travel schedules, the physical demands of long days on a set or a stage, the need to instantly build rapport with directors and co-stars. She took the stamina she built in the hospital and applied it to a totally different arena.
It's the exact same engine, just dropped into a completely different vehicle.
Beautifully put.
That
Yes.
that reframes her entire early career for me, because it explains how she had the sheer horsepower to survive what comes next.
Oh, absolutely.
Because she doesn't just slowly wade into the entertainment pool.
Yeah.
She dives into the deep end by capitalizing on a massive macroeconomic event.
And the timing of her entry into the market is just a brilliant piece of opportunistic strategy.
So in 1996, the Summer Olympics came to Atlanta,
Right.
and the entire city was just flooded with international visitors, media coverage, and most importantly, transient wealth.
Oh, yeah, huge amounts of cash flowing.
And she pivots right then, utilizing that massive influx of foot traffic to begin working as a feature entertainer and an exotic dancer.
Which, if you think about the economics of boom towns, a global event like the Olympics creates this temporary, hyper-concentrated microeconomy.
Right.
Hospitality and entertainment sectors just explode. So by placing herself directly in the center of that geographic boom, she bypassed the usual years of slow audience building.
She captured an immediate, highly lucrative audience.
Exactly. Which provided the capital and the momentum to scale her brand outward.
And she scaled quickly. I mean, that same year, 1996, she moved to Fort Lauderdale to dance and model, eventually touring as a feature entertainer across the U.S. and Canada.
Yeah, she was always moving.
And by 1997 or 1998, she makes the definitive leap to Los Angeles and enters the mature entertainment industry. And this is where her visibility absolutely skyrockets into the stratosphere.
It really does.
She starts modeling for top men's magazines. We're talking Penthouse, High Society, Club, Gallery, Cherie, Leg Show, and Fox.
Huge publications at the time.
Right. And she's appearing on cable networks like Playboy TV, Spice, and Hot.
She was aggressively saturating the market across multiple distinct distribution channels, print media, premium cable, live touring.
Yeah.
She ensured that regardless of how a consumer engaged with mature content, her brand was visible.
I want to pause here, though, and look closely at the numbers, because this is where my mind really gets blown.
Okay, let's hear the numbers.
Our sources document that she acted in roughly 300 films for mature audiences. 300.
It's a staggering output.
It is. She worked with major studios in that space, like Vivid Entertainment Group, Metro, and Adam and Eve. And she collaborated with top directors like Jill Kelly, Seymour Butts, Brad Armstrong, and Paul Thomas.
Basically a who's who of that era.
Right. She starred in an AVN award-winning remake, The New Devil in Miss Jones, and earned 3 AVN award nominations herself between 2004 and 2006.
Incredible accolades.
But I have to be honest, when I see a number like 300 films in a relatively condensed time frame, plus the magazine shoots, plus the cross-country touring, it looks like pure desperation to me.
Desperation? How so?
Well, it looks like someone just saying yes to every single paycheck to survive, which, usually leads to instant burnout and brand fatigue.
Well, it looks like a recipe for overexposure, certainly, but you have to view this through the lens of longevity in a highly controversial field.
Okay, unpack that for me.
In trend-driven media, and particularly in mature entertainment, the audience's attention span is notoriously short. The window for peak marketability is incredibly narrow.
That makes sense.
So producing 300 films isn't desperation, it is an incredible display of business acumen. When you are the product, you have to maximize your output during your peak demand year.
Ah, strike while the iron is hot.
Exactly. But here is the genius of her strategy. She didn't release 300 films under one monolithic brand.
Oh, right. The sources note she used multiple aliases to market herself. She went by Donna, Alexandra Sin, Angelica Sin, Angelica Sin with 2 N's, Alexandra Sin.
Which is the absolute key to achieving volume without suffering from brand dilution.
Wait, how does that work?
Think of a massive corporate holding company. Procter & Gamble doesn't just sell one detergent. They sell Tide, Gain, and Ariel.
Oh. They capture different segments of the market without their products cannibalizing each other.
Precisely. She applied that exact same hyper-compartmentalization to her personal brand.
So if a studio or an audience wanted a specific type of performance, maybe something grittier or something more premium, She had a specific alias and a specific catalog of work tailored to that niche.
Right. She was diversifying her own product line, and as she progressed in her career, she also capitalized on specific casting niches as she matured.
Like what?
Well, her physical stats. She stood at 5 feet 7 inches, and that was highly marketed in her modeling profiles, playing into the aesthetic demands of different demographic segments. She extended her shelf life by constantly presenting a fresh angle to the market.
Wow, she was literally operating herself like a diversified investment portfolio.
Exactly.
If you're enjoying the vibe, go ahead and hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and share this video with your friends. It really helps us out.
And managing a portfolio of that size requires an iron grip on your own public narrative.
Yeah, you can't even imagine.
But what elevates her story from a successful niche career to a masterclass in adaptability is that she refused to stay confined to the ecosystem she had just conquered.
Yeah, she was constantly pushing against the boundaries of her own success. I mean, with a workload of 300 films, you would think her schedule was maxed out.
Oh, you would think.
But she started aggressively branching out into mainstream acting and thrillers. In 2002, she appeared in mainstream thrillers like Wicked Temptations and a crime drama called Deviant Obsession, which actually found an audience on French television.
International reach.
Right, and she was taking on roles in adult-oriented dramas for major premium networks like HBO and Showtime.
And the shift to networks like HBO and Showtime is significant because it requires a completely different set of acting muscles.
How so?
Well, the mature entertainment industry often prioritizes pacing that gets straight to the point, if you will.
Right, yeah.
Premium cable demands slow burn narrative performance, complex character arcs, and a subtlety that doesn't necessarily exist in her previous work.
She even took on indie mainstream roles that stripped away the glamour entirely.
Yeah.
In 2008, she played a character literally billed as concerned neighbor in a New Zealand drama film called Jink's Sister.
A total departure from a leading role.
Completely.
Yeah.
And what's fascinating is she was credited under her real name, Angela Oliver, for that project. Years later, in 2018, she played a character named Haley in the comedy Zombie TV. She was even working behind the scenes, doing wardrobe for a film called X-Girls in 2000, and doing specialty modeling for ExquisiteFeet.com in 2006.
It just demonstrates a voracious appetite for understanding every facet of production, both in front of the lens and behind it. She wasn't just a performer, she was a student of the media landscape.
But the pivot that I find the most jarring, the one that really challenges how we define her, is her highly physical leap into professional wrestling.
Oh, this is my favorite part.
It's wild. The sources confirm she stepped into the ring to compete in the Women's Extreme Wrestling Federation, going toe-to-toe with established figures like Fujiko Kano and Taylor St. Clair.
Incredible.
Now, I have to push back on this move.
Okay.
If you are successfully landing roles on premium cable networks like HBO and Showtime, transitioning into the indie professional wrestling circuit feels like a step backward in prestige.
You think it's a step down?
Well, yeah. It's gritty, it's dangerous, and it lacks the polished glamour of Hollywood. Why make that leap?
See, you're evaluating the move based on industry prestige, but you need to evaluate it based on the psychology of the performer.
Okay, walk me through that.
Think about the fundamental difference between film and the wrestling ring. When you're filming a movie, even a premium drama for HBO, you are on a closed, highly controlled set.
Right.
If the lighting is wrong, you reset. If you flub a line the director calls cut, you have the ultimate safety net of the editing room.
Oh, I see. It's a manufactured reality. The audience only sees the perfected final draft.
But professional wrestling is raw live theater. It strips away every safety net.
Yeah, there are no second takes.
Exactly. It demands spontaneous physical endurance, intense character work, and above all, an immediate visceral connection with a live, demanding audience. If a grapple goes wrong, or if the crowd isn't buying your character's storyline, you can't call cut.
You just have to roll with it.
You have to pivot and adapt your narrative in real time, all while physically exerting yourself to the limit.
So she was seeking out the danger of the live feedback loop.
She viewed herself as a holistic, interactive performer. Jumping into the wrestling ring proves she wasn't content being a static image on a screen. She wanted the tactile, unpredictable energy of a live crowd.
Wow.
And it takes an incredible amount of bravery to step out of a highly lucrative, controlled studio environment and subject your body to the literal bumps and bruises of the mat.
It really brings us back to that baseline of physical discipline she established as a baton twirler and a trauma nurse.
It absolutely does.
I mean, the sheer physical toll of navigating nursing shifts, massive touring schedules, a 300-film output, and the literal beatdowns of the wrestling ring, the wear and tear on the human body must have been astronomical.
Which is why the final phase of her career trajectory isn't just interesting, it's biologically necessary.
Right.
You simply cannot sustain that level of intense, high-impact physical output indefinitely.
And the timeline in our sources reflects that reality. After a prolific decade spanning hundreds of media appearances and live matches, her output naturally began to slow down.
Yeah, there's a natural arc to it.
Her absolute peak of visibility was concentrated between 2004 and 2008. Following that era, she made more sporadic appearances, like the indie comedy we mentioned in 2018, with her documented industry activities tapering off completely around 2020.
It's the natural winding down of a marathon runner who has finally crossed the finish line.
But the sources give us this incredible glimpse into her documented future ambitions and her personal life during this wind-down period, and it is a stark, almost unbelievable contrast to the fast-paced, controversial media career she led.
I would say the juxtaposition between her public persona and her private ambitions is arguably the most fascinating part of her entire archival footprint.
So after living life at a million miles an hour in front of millions of viewers, her documented ambitions were to earn a degree in nutrition, to open her own fresh juice restaurant and nutrition store, and to compete in fitness events.
Just incredibly wholesome goals.
And her listed personal hobbies. She practices yoga, she listens to Paul Oakenfold albums, and she spends her time hanging out with her Himalayan cat, Nico.
I love that detail. That detail about the Himalayan cat paints such a vivid, humanizing picture. It grounds this larger-than-life media figure in a very quiet, relatable, domestic reality.
I want you, the listener, to really picture this for a second. You have a person who navigated the absolute extremes of human performance.
Yeah.
Highly controversial spaces, intensely demanding physical arenas, constantly managing a complex web of aliases and public expectations. And her ultimate dream is to just run a quiet juice bar, do some yoga, and hang out with her cat.
It's quite the image.
My immediate thought is that this is a total 180-degree turn. Like it's a complete rejection of her past life.
It's really tempting to read it as a rejection, as a complete severing of ties with her past. But if we analyze the mechanics of everything we've discussed today, it actually connects the dots in a profoundly beautiful way.
Really?
Yeah, it is the ultimate full circle moment.
Okay, walk me through that. Because it looks like a clean break to me.
Well, think back to the very beginning of this deep dive. Before the 300 films, before the wrestling ring, before the aliases, where did Angela Oliver start her professional journey?
The University of South Carolina, the School of Nursing.
Exactly. A field that is fundamentally dedicated to health, wellness, and understanding the complex mechanics of the human body.
Oh, wow.
Right. She started her life with a deep focus on biological care. Then she embarks on this decades-long media career that is entirely predicated on physical performance.
Okay, I'm starting to see it.
Whether it was aesthetic modeling, grueling tour schedules, or taking bumps in the wrestling ring, her entire corporate enterprise was intrinsically tied to the capabilities of her physical self. Her body was her business.
Oh, I see exactly where you're going with this.
So her desire to step away from the cameras and study nutrition, to open a holistic juice bar, and to practice yoga, it isn't a rejection of who she was. It is a return to her foundational roots in health and wellness.
That is fascinating.
She is taking the core passion she had in nursing, filtering it through the entrepreneurial business acumen she developed in the entertainment industry, and applying it to personal peace. The underlying through line of her entire life is a deep, abiding interest in the human body.
She just transitioned from clinical caretaking to extreme public performance and finally to holistic sustainment.
Exactly.
That completely changes the narrative for me. It's not a detour, it's the road curving all the way back home.
Beautifully said.
It is so incredibly easy to look at a resume that jumps from trauma nursing to feature entertainment to French television dramas and professional wrestling and just dismiss it as chaotic.
Right. People want to put it in a neat little box.
But when you dig into the mechanics, there's this undeniable through line of strategic adaptability, immense physical discipline, and a constant evolution of how she relates to her own body and her audience.
It reveals a professional who absolutely refused to let the market dictate her boundaries, and who refused to be defined by just one chapter of her life.
Well, I want to thank you for diving into these archives with us today. Angela Oliver's journey, from a North Carolina nursing student to a highly prolific media figure as Angelica Sin to a live-action wrestler, and finally to an aspiring holistic nutritionist, it fundamentally challenges how we are supposed to view career trajectories.
It really does.
It proves that a career doesn't have to be a ladder. It can be an expansive, incredibly complex web.
It certainly does. And I want to leave you, the listener, with a final thought to mull over as you go about your day.
Yeah.
We so often let our first major career choice, or even our most visible public successes, lock us into a rigid identity. We put the blinders on because society tells us that consistency is the only path to credibility.
Right, we're told to stay in our lane.
Exactly. But if someone can successfully engineer a pivot from a clinical hospital ward to the heights of a highly controversial entertainment field, to the raw danger of a wrestling ring, and then peacefully transition toward holistic health and a quiet life with a Himalayan cat, what invisible, artificial boundaries are you placing on your own ability to reinvent yourself?
That is a great question to leave on.
Mm-hmm.
Take a hard look at your own resume today. Maybe it's time to stop climbing the ladder and start building a completely different vehicle. Thanks for taking the deep dive with us.